goal of this interview is for us to glean into how you came to be who you are, the obstacles you went through, and you are the epitome of how anything is possible if you believe and you're willing to walk through it. The last time we got together at the Boo State WETATi Entrepreneurship and STEM program, a lot of the kids are still talking about your story, and I'm very intrigued from College Park Academy. So please, for this interview, the first thing I'd like to do is to ask you to please introduce yourself the best way you can, and then we can get right with it.
Okay. So most times I would just say I'm Shilette, right? I'm Shilette Addison-Reed, but most people know me now as Lieutenant Colonel Shilette Addison-Reed, United States Air Force, retired. It's 30 years of my life. I wouldn't want to get away from that. It taught me a lot. It's given me a lot of opportunities, showed me several different perspectives, and even in that time, it's given me the opportunity to take a look back at my life and see all the steps that I've taken and how God was directing my path throughout all of that time when I didn't see it. So I am, again, Lieutenant Colonel Shilette Addison-Reed, United States Air Force, retired, a mother, a woman of God, a child of God, and a wife.
And I'm very glad that you're able to share your faith confidently, because at times people struggle with it. But for me, apart from your faith, I don't know what you have to work with in this world.
Right.
So thank you for the opportunity. So we're going to get right to it. We already gathered a lot of information about you that's going to go into the magazine and stuff, and we're going to actually honor you at the convention coming up April 17th, 18th, and 19th. Because one of the things that WETATi sets out to do is to look for people in the community who are defying the odds against life, not letting life get to them where they can get up. And you epitomize that. Could you take a minute before we get into your military service? Tell me about how you grew up. How did you get into the military? And if a little child, a boy or girl, is listening, thinking, oh, I can't do anything, my mom didn't give me this, my dad didn't give me that. It sounded like you didn't have it, but for some reason, you and Faith had an encounter. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood, that someone, a kid or parent who's struggling with their child could say, if she could do it, if God can do it for her, they can do it for me or my child?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my life and my childhood probably a middle income child, we would probably say, and my mother and my father had some struggles, and so that quickly changed for us. What some people don't get to experience is when you were able to live a little bit higher on the hog, and that all of that changes overnight. And so that's the experience that my sisters and my brother and I had living in the house. My mother and my father dealt with substance abuse and chemical dependence. And so it kind of left my sisters and I to kind of fend for ourselves, to be perfectly honest. So starting around 10, 11 years old. And so we did that. Growing up, it seemed like for a lot of time that's just the three of us, we are what we had. I was still able to go to school, do my schoolwork, because it was a community. We had family around that helped us there. My mother's family, my father's family, kind of tried to make sure that we were on the straight and narrow. But I have to tell you, we were bad kids. I was a bad kid. I was a bad kid. I skipped school. I did things like that, and there were teachers and people along the way. The old adage that it takes a community, that is still true, was most definitely true in my day, because while I was trying to skip school, there were teachers they saw a potential in me, and they forced me to do the work. Had it not been for one English teacher in particular, unfortunately I don't remember her name, but she forced me to write an essay and to submit for a college scholarship, and I did that. And I was accepted, and I was going to have to go to school early, go to college early, right after graduating from high school, and I didn't want to do that.
Right. I heard you say a bad kid. To be honest with you,
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you don't have to be sorry. That's why this conversation is important, because oftentimes kids label themselves because of what society. But I believe that normally when a kid doesn't have the attention or the support from a parent or a guardian, they do what is what comes naturally, which is stupid stuff, right?
Right.
So that doesn't make you a bad kid, is what you did. But let's flip that.
And see, and I thought I was, though.
That's my point. But somebody wasn't there to guide you to become this person you're supposed to be.
You're absolutely right.
Tell me how you flipped your destiny.
So, well, I guess it was the teacher that I mentioned and my father. He had the opportunity to change his life. I have to tell you, ma'am, lots of times I don't know if it's me that flipped the destiny, you know, but it was the people who are around me, the adults around me, who gave me opportunity exposure. In my mind, it's the flip of your destiny is based on two things, and it's exposure and opportunity. And there's several ways you can be exposed. I was exposed to myself. I had to have me exposed to me, where I thought I was a bad kid. I was doing all types of things. I didn't think I was very smart. I didn't think that I had the potential that other adults, parents, family members, teachers saw in me. And so they started to expose me to me, let me know that I had potential. They started to show me some of my flaws. Right, I had to be willing to see those things, but then they also, they also showed me areas where my potential to succeed. And so the flip came in me kind of despising my dad and not doing what he told me to do. And I met a recruiter. And I thought I was going to play a joke on him because I was still a trickster. I was playing games. And so I went to go and play a joke on my dad. Tell him I was joining the Air Force, and I thought he wouldn't let me go. I was only 17 years old, and he was extremely happy for me to join the Air Force, and he was so happy. He had tears in his eyes, and I couldn't tell him that I was just kidding, that I wasn't going into the Air Force. And so really that is the beginning of this life that I've known. I often feel like it had little to do with me at the time, but more to do with destiny. I mean, God coming in and making provisions, ordering my steps when I didn't even know my steps were being ordered, ordering my father's steps when he didn't know that his steps were being ordered. And then from there, I started to see that my life was about so much more than me. So much more than me. I start remembering all the lessons that my mother and my father and my grandmother taught me, and then that's when I started to believe if anybody can do anything, then I can do it too. If he can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. And there's no specific he or she, anyone who can do anything, I can do it too. And so I think that was about maybe my first or second year in the military where I started to believe that, and I just kind of started to go after the things that I wanted to do.
Let me ask you a question, tying back into this, because I believe in what you just talked about, how destiny happens in a way that you can only look back and say, but God. So would you say that had it not been for the military, let me phrase it this way, what do you think, or where would you have been if the military had not intervened in your favor, if God hadn't used the military? And if any kid is stubborn, maybe like you were at the time, and that is an option, just talk to me about that. Have you ever thought about what could have, sometimes we don't go back on that?
Absolutely, but I most definitely think about it all the time. The military was an avenue or a tool that God used to move me away. Sometimes God's got to take you away from the things that you feel like you love, want, or need the most. And so I had to move away from my family and friends. That was designed that way, because had I not, I would not be here today. I would not have gotten out of my own way. I wouldn't have allowed anyone to expose me to me. The only way, what I always say is, you can't see yourself from your head to your feet. The only way you get to really understand yourself from your head to your feet, two ways, is if you look in the mirror to see yourself, or you let somebody else come in your life and tell you what's on top of your head. You allow them to tell you about yourself. I wasn't allowing people to tell me about myself.
Which is better? Which you prefer? Which of those? I never heard it said like that before. Which is better, or doesn't matter?
I think you need a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Everyone won't accept one or the other. So I had to go into the military they had to break me, if you will. I had to be kind of molded over again, where I didn't have a choice but to hear people tell me about myself. I had to be exposed. They told me in ways where I didn't have a choice but to believe it or to do those things that they were telling me to do. Whether I wanted to believe that they were doing it for my good or not, I had to do it. And that's what kind of started to turn me around. I mean, I would recommend military life for anyone who needs a shift, but they have to be willing to be shifted once they get in. Because I mean,
and the discipline that had accrued to you. I mean, even when you walked, I was like, that military. It's like everything you do, you can still see that. Do you attribute the discipline, the decency, this awesome human being you've become? Before I ask a couple more questions, because we already got a lot of tons of stuff about you. How does that? I mean, what would you say to that?
Well, absolutely. I have to accredit that to the military. I did not have that amount of discipline and organization.
It has transferred now to every aspect of your life with the businesses you run and everything else, right?
Absolutely, and not only the discipline, but the opportunities. Because remember, so there was the exposing me to me, helped me get disciplined, helped me get organized. But then there were the opportunities.
The opportunities like the education.
Education, the travel.
Look at who you are now.
Everything. And so education comes in several different ways. Me going to school, them paying for me to finish college, and then the different things that I learned going around the world. You learn so much more.
Remember when you said you tried to run away, then the next year they send you to London, then they send you to travel. Each time you wanted to run out,
yes,
they would send you away.
I was trying to get back home. I was trying to get anywhere back to the East Coast in the United States, and God had another plan. I was all the way in Korea. From Korea, I said, okay, I'm going home. I didn't even volunteer to go overseas. People kick and scream to get to Japan. I didn't want to go, so they sent me to Japan. From there, I'm saying, I've got to get back to the States. I'm trying to get to the States. Sent me straight past my house and sent me to England. I was not a volunteer. I went kicking and screaming. People would love to get to England and live their life. And I thought I was miserable there the first few months, like, why, God, why are you sending me here? Until I kind of decided to stop fighting against God. You can't. When I was young, I went to see a play with Patti LaBelle. Said, your arms are too short to box with God.
That's right.
I remembered that play when I was in England. Said, my arms are too short. We're going to just go with God. We're going to go with his plan. And you know what? And when I did that, when I settled in, things that I couldn't even imagine. And hopefully it's okay for me to say these things, because everything in my life to me really is spiritual. I just don't believe that I could do anything without God. I can't beat his giving. I would not have imagined the life that I experienced starting in England when I kind of just let go and let God. I was the first, I was the Air Force Information Manager of the Year, which meant I was the Air Force's top information manager. As a young senior, I was 20 years old. I would have never thought that I could win one award in the Air Force. I wasn't that type of airman or kid, or at least I labeled myself to be that way, right? I just couldn't think I could achieve those things. And then after that, I won the highest academic honor when we go to our professional military schools. You get to the John Levitt Award. I didn't think that. I went in there not even wanting it, because I didn't think I was worthy. That's right. Really. And I got it anyway.
And I'm so proud of you. Every time I talk to you, I'm encouraged for the next generation and for the kids coming up. Because anyone can come up. Anyone's life can change. You have to be willing to.
That's right.
Anyone that is, whoever happened to be watching you right now, or watching us or listening to us, whose kid might have been you, that was, or who's going through a challenge. Because even though your vehicle was God used the military, but God can use people and other avenues to change them.
That's right.
What would you say? What would you say to that person so they don't lose hope? To let them know that they too can overcome. Remember, this is WETATi. WETATians are people who can achieve the impossible and overcome the odds no matter what. Could you speak to that person? Because you have no idea how many people feel bad every day. They just can't, life is not good. Well, can you speak to them from that experience?
Well, besides one saying trust God, I would also say the military was an avenue and a vehicle for me. We didn't have organizations like WETATi. We didn't have these organizations that are looking for people like me, who, I want to do something. I feel like I'm going to do it in my time. We didn't have people saying, you know what, you can achieve the impossible, and showing me how to do it. So I would tell them to connect with organizations like yours, like WETATi, and people who are doing things like you are, ma'am, and allow the people, because see now, again, exposure. You get exposed by looking yourself in the mirror and then allowing yourself to latch on to someone else who's going to look at you, tell you some things about yourself. So they're going to tell you where you're flawed. They're going to tell you those areas that have potential, right, and the areas you can improve on. They're going to show you how to do it. And then, but this is important, ma'am. While they're showing you how to do it, while you're showing them how to do it, it's not always going to feel good.
That's right.
It's not going to feel good, and it's going to be hard sometimes, but if they keep their eye on the prize, on where they can go in the future, because for me, it wasn't easy, and it wasn't fun, and a few times I thought I was going to quit basic training. I kept wanting to get away from Korea. I wanted to get out of Japan. I was trying to get out of the Air Force.
That's right.
I said I was only going to stay for 4 years. Here I am 30 years later.
That's right. So the bottom line is, you don't have to do what feels good. Do what is right and stay with it.
Stick with it
until your feeling catches up with the action.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
that's what you did. Can we do the WETATi? We say power, right?
Power, that's right.
Cool.
They got to stick with it.
You got to stick with it, because there's no two ways about it. You can cry and whine, but let me go to this question. And I'm so grateful that you mentioned the work that we do, because a lot of people don't understand. They underestimate the power of nonprofits. They don't understand, if you don't have a heart of compassion for others, you cannot do nonprofit. If money is your primary motive, money is by default. So you now chose, after we met, remember when we met, we talked, we cried and everything else, and glorified the Lord, and the rest is history. And you agreed to be the director for our STEM program. Can you tell me what that means, and why is that important to you, to give back in such a way?
Oh, man. I have to start from me, right? When I was a child, I wished that I had someone who was looking for me. Now, I mean, this just makes me a little bit emotional, so I'm going to try and keep it together. But I wished there was an adult who was looking for someone like me. Inside, I knew I wanted to do something. I didn't believe I could do it. So then what I needed was that extra push and pull that says, I see the potential in you. I believe you can do it. I am going to pull you on, because then still I'm pulling back because I don't really believe it. I'm not really interested in feeling failure. I don't want to know what it feels like to fail. I don't want to really know what it feels like to be rejected. But I want everything that you get from going through the failure and the rejection. And so I needed someone like you. So now I'm in this position. I want to be that person. I'm glad that you're there. I want to be able to reach down and find that those young folks who are just like me, I know they want to do more, they want to be more, they want to help their parents out. They see their parents struggle, but they don't think that they can. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of rejection. And I want to tell them that, I was too. But failure is a part of the path. Maybe some rejection is a part of the path, but they've got to stay the course. They've got to stay the course. And so because I know that there'll be several of us that don't want to do it, but can do it, I want to help them. It makes my heart feel good for each one that just comes the extra step, takes that extra step, and the more of them that we bring along, I believe we'll grow up more people like us that want to reach down and bring even more along. So we're building the entire community to do this on their own. They'll stand on their own. They'll help each other on their own.
Sure. So what do you say to people who are sitting by the sideline, complaining about what's wrong, but do not want to participate in the rescue of the youths and things of that nature? What do you say to them briefly, and then we'll ask you about what makes you WETATi-Anne, and we can wrap this up, because we got this.
Ma'am, you know what? I try and spend my time on the ones who actually want to help. So all I would say is, if they are on the sidelines and they are complaining about what is wrong, then there's many opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities for them to help, right? We need helping hands. And so if you want to see change, you've got to be an agent of change. If you are not a part of the solution. In my opinion, you're part of the problem.
That's right.
And so while I always want to try and keep it positive, you don't want to be a part of the problem, I would ask you to come and be a part of the solution. And everybody may not feel like they can do it. They may not have the heart to do it. Then send somebody our way that does have the heart to do it.
I totally believe that if everybody helps, nothing is difficult to accomplish. And I don't believe that colored or minority kids or can do this and that. It's just sometimes people fail them. And and just when you said you're a trouble kid and stuff, or bad kid, no, it's because you were so smart, you had so much to give, but there was no one to direct that energy in the right avenue.
Wow.
That's what it is.
Here I am, 47, first time hearing it.
Was flip it for you. You didn't, you know what I mean? Sometimes a kid needs somebody to say, shut up and sit down, basically, with love. And not only say that, but show you the way, give you something experientially disposed that you can now do something and be somebody, right?
It's one of the things that I'm doing. I am most definitely wanting to, I don't want to talk about it, I want to be about showing them the way. Now, one other thing that you said there, ma'am, and I know we're going to move on. We talked about folks that kind of you want to sit back and watch. Well, you talk about, we teach entrepreneurship, right? How we achieve the impossible. And so one of the things that I tell all the young folks that I talk to is, I was talking to one young person and they say, I don't know if I'm an entrepreneur. I said, well, what is an entrepreneur? You don't know what, you see a problem, what do you want to do with it? And she's like, I want to fix it, and I said, and that is the mind. That is the mind of an entrepreneur. When you get to a place where you see an issue and you want to resolve it. So now what we want to do is kind of nurture that and help give you the resources, the tools, help your mind, help establish your mindset to actually do it. If you want to fix a problem, then you have enough right there to be an entrepreneur.
Let me move on because I know time is of the essence. We're so excited. Our annual convention again is coming up April this year at University of Maryland College Park in partnership with the Nimbo Culture Center. You have achieved a lot and overcome a lot, and so we classify you as a WETATi-Anne, and you're going to be you're one of the award recipients alongside Mama Durant, Kevin Durant's mom, and Melanie Johnson of in GM, and among others. What does that make you feel? How does that feel? Because I know you're a very humble person, but humility has nothing to do with taking honor, accepting what is due you. And that's my personal belief, alongside the spirit of our organization, is looking for what we call the unsung heroes. Oprah Winfrey, I love her, but she doesn't need our piece of paper. But people like you are those that we want the world to. How does that make you feel, that being honored? We already sent your star. What would that mean to you? What does that make you feel?
I don't know if you'd want to record this, but I feel unworthy, right? I feel like I want to do I want to do the work. It actually makes me want to do more, right? So I'm really, really appreciative because I don't do anything that I do for any glory, right? Other than to see these young folks kind of climb this ladder and be everything that they can be, everything that they want to be, and then some. So I am really just humbled. I'm really humbled. I'm proud when I can settle into it, and like I can't believe it right now. I keep saying it. I really am. So I'm just going to continue to do the work. Continue to do the work, and then wait for whatever God has for me next. And I won't sit still while I'm waiting. I'll keep working, and then He'll open another door.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you two more questions, and then we'll be wrapping up. We already have some materials and some of the recordings from the keynote speech you gave at Abu State at our last Entrepreneurship and STEM program, which is really phenomenal. I don't know, have you seen the video?
I haven't.
Oh, you need to go watch it. Go to WETATi.com.
Oh, it's on the website?
WETATi.com, and then click on the YouTube channel. I think it's the latest one that was uploaded.
Okay.
It's beautiful, it's well done. Media folks are doing a great job, and our social media thing is also going really great. So you've been through a lot, and you're going to be awarded as one of the WETATi-Annes for 2020. What, out of all that you've accomplished and been through, what in your life, personally or corporately, you would say is what made you a WETATi-Anne? What you achieved the impossible? What is it? What is it? I don't want to give you what is it that you achieved in your life out of every, because there's a lot of things you've been through and you've overcome. What makes you a WETATi-Anne?
I didn't even tell me you want to ask me this question. If I have to say one thing.
It could be multiple things, but at least if it's one that's, because it's cumulative.
Right, it's the work that I'm doing with the young folks to help get them here. I mean, entrepreneurship, to help them reach their dreams, achieve their dreams. That's what I would say. I mean, so I've been in command and made ranks that I never thought I would. I've been the 12 outstanding airmen. They picked the 12 out of 450,000, and of all those things, I don't think that they're the things that would make me worthy of being a WETATi-Anne. But it's the work that I do with the young folks that I want to give back, because I want to see them achieve their dreams. I want them to believe that they can do anything.
Yeah, I think your answer shows your heart. That means you're a servant. You care about the people. It's not about you. Mm-hmm. So for that reason, I know God will do everything else for you. So I think the last question before we wrap up is, most women particularly struggle with career. You just retired, but you went back again to the workforce. I'm like, wow, because when you said you're retired, you look like you're 16 years old, but that doesn't mean you retire from life or pursuing what God's calling is, right? Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to know what's next for you in this regard. I thank God WETATi is you're with us, so that we're grateful for. What's next for you going forward?
And I wish I knew everything that was next for me, because I tend to try and follow the yellow brick road that God sets before me, and I don't always know where the next brick is going to lay out. But I will tell you that I have also have a nonprofit and a profit where I go out and find young folks who have a dream. And right now we have the focus on the arts, and we've had our conversation about STEAM. Yeah. I did the review and the study, and so we're implementing that with 3Z Dream Builders, where I are helping with STEM programs at my son's middle school, and that all came from because he's STEM and he couldn't get into a program. So anyway, so I wanted to start teaching them how to do some cyber coding. I am doing a production in Chicago, a live production, to give some folks opportunities to have a platform to present their talent or their skill set in the arts. This is the Year of the Arts in Chicago, so they have sponsored us to go and do that there. There are going to be a few production companies that are going to be there to see what they're doing and see if they want to sign them, if they want to sponsor them. So just a few things where I want to just continue to kind of blaze trails and make our own path and reach as many young folks as we possibly can who have dreams to be whatever it is that they want to be, and then try and make the connections, connect the dots. You want to be a producer, you want to be on TV, you want to learn science, you want to learn how to code. If I have connections to do those things, then I'm making the connections, I'm showing them how to get there, and when I don't have connections, then I'm going to try and get them to actually put these young folks in place to do the things that they can do. Again, exposure and opportunity. We're trying to give them the exposure and create the opportunities for them to believe that they can do it, and then kind of push them out the door and watch them do that.
Thank you. Really, really, really thank you so much. We're going to bring this to a close, but something just popped in my heart about women who you're married. You're a happily married woman with 3 kids, 3 or 4 kids?
No, 3.
I keep trying to count. Doing this, and you're so engaged, because most women would make excuse, because sometimes excuse is so easy to make. But how do you find time? Because most women will say, okay, I'm sure she's not doing anything else. You know how people find a reason why not to be, not do, right? How do you find time? Just take 30 seconds. How do you balance that motherhood, the wifey thing, the work thing, and to be you and still find yourself? For a woman, or anyone there who is looking for inspiration, not to make excuse and still find a way and find fulfillment. Because I thought you were done. You're like, no, I'm only 45 years. I'm getting ready to do that. I was like, when I heard retire, I thought you were looking for the swing, or else to just swing back and forth.
No, ma'am. You know what? I'm still working on how I find it, but what I can tell you is that I find it deliberately. It won't just happen. All right. So I mean, it won't just happen. I can't say, okay, I want to do this here. I want to do the WETATi here. I want to go back to work. I want to help these kids. I still need to be a mom to my children to get them there, and I want to be a good wife to my husband. So I do it deliberately. I see the hours, the amount of hours that I have in the day, and I'll try and divide those things up. I have to prioritize too, because my family comes first. But I'm also trying to teach my family how to serve, so that they don't feel like they're left out, but they feel like they're serving with me. So it's something that we get to do together, and that is a big part of how I get to continue to do these things, because we do it as a family.
This might be the best question I think I asked, because I've done a lot already. This is awesome. So I think we've come to the end of this interview. Go. So excited, thank God. Is there anything, before we wrap up, is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share? If not, we're good to go.
No, I think I jumped up. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.